This is Shinchi, a high school student like any student, and that it is also weak and the children hit him. This is Murano. Be with him in the same school and love him, and he also loves her. On a wondrous and strange night, Shinchi was quietly sleeping. While he was sleeping, a parasite, like the worm, approached his ear and tried to penetrate it, but he was unable, so he tried to enter his nose. Shinchi felt this and woke up afraid, and he thought it was a snake. The parasite pierced his hands and entered it, and he was trying to walk in his body, but Shinchi had a speed of his intuition. And I was able to meet the parasite. Shinchi kept screaming. His father and his mother entered his room to see him and found him holding his arm and screaming and telling them that she is a snake in my arms, save me. Shortly after the snake disappeared and his father returned to his nature, he said to him, "Do you drink drugs or what?" Shinchi woke up after that to a strange voice. He was afraid, washed a face, had breakfast, went to school. On his way, he met his girlfriend, and strange events began to talk to him, holding her from a place that his girlfriend should not catch him. And he was unable to understand what he was doing and remained quarreling. He was on his way to the home, he saw his child crossing, and there was a car coming quickly that he would shock. Shinchi gained the audacity, and suddenly he quickly took it and put his arm, and the surprise was able to stop the car and got out of his hand. Yes, it has a strange thing. He returned to the house very afraid, closed the door, and took out his knife. He wanted to know what is inside his hand. Suddenly his hand turned. Shinchi was afraid of the situation and tried to persist and tried to kill the parasite, but the parasite was faster than him. His hand returned to its normal position again. The parasite named Shinchi started looking on the internet and opened Google, but without it, strange events began to happen in Japan. Many people were killed in a very ugly way. Shinchi then rose up and found the parasite learning to read, and other things seemed to read with him, and called him Migi. Migi began explaining to him that they were creatures that came from space entering the human body and eating his brain or alive. Migi decided to eat his arm, so he would be the place of his arm, and when he goes to sleep, his arm returns to his normal state. And now Shinchi became the Migi-Lu Shinchi family. Matt Migi also dies. And they agreed with Sam that Migi will feed on his blood and live, and in return, Shinchi will use his arm at risk. Migi will protect him. On the day of Shinchi, he was walking on the way, who felt another parasite near. Each parasite feels the other through Shinchi's cognitive waves was afraid, but Migi insisted that he go and discover what is happening. He went there, he found a dog eating another dog, Shinchi. They understood that this is a parasite like Migi, but I took the dog's brain. Discover that they eat the same type of sex, that they control it, who controls a dog that eats a dog, and who controls a person who eats a person like him. Migi poetry with a murder signal from the parasite inside the dog, and this is because Migi could not eat the brain of Shinchi. The dog felt a danger due to Migi and decided to kill them, but Migi escaped in Synthi, but the dog run and saw the Meiji attacked and killed him. Shinchi began his physical strength to improve very significantly to feel another person. His friend Shinchi liked this situation. I decided to forgive him, but she started to be afraid of him a little and feared that his hand in which the parasite would hold. On the day Shinchi was walking with his girlfriend, they were going to school, Migi Shar, that there was a parasite near them. The surprise was the parasite in the body of the new teacher at school, but it seemed unnatural, and it was very smart. The teacher learned that Shinchi, like her, was called to her office. They met and there was another person with her, who is also a parasitic being who did not like the discussion, and went and left them, and he only wanted to eat human beings but the professor, whose name was Tamirioko. She wanted to know her truth and the reality of parasites and natural Migi. The next day, the parasite, who was with them, attacked the school, and a massacre occurred in which a lot died, and the administration began to abandon the school, and only Shinchi remains. Shinchi decided that he was facing the parasite, but with intelligence. He put a barrier plan, but she was unsuccessful. Shinchi was surprised by his strength. After a while, his mother felt that there was a strange thing in her son. His father and his mother decided to go out for a picnic. Shinchi meets a girl whose name was his colleague in the school, and it is clear that she loves him and also has a special ability that she feels it, that is, she feels the waves that come out of parasites. The girl started walking behind him and shook hands and felt something strange in his hand. Meiji warned him of that girl and told him to get away from her because she feels them. Shinchi's father and his mother were spending a beautiful time, but unfortunately the joy was not complete. She feels us. His mother was killed and his father was injured and called Shinchi and said to him, "I am going to the police." And he left it drowned in the endless cycle of thinking. What happened to my father and my mother? Shinchi is afraid he does not know what happened to his mother. Migi suddenly feel there is a parasite close to them, and the surprise is that she was his mother. She is not his mother, that he is the parasite of his mother's brain, but he was looking for his father to get rid of him. Shinchi is unable to act. Migi tells him that she is no longer your mother. Shinchi is unable to absorb the situation and does not believe that his mother has died. Migi threatened and said to him that I will cut you out of my body if you did not silence, but the response came quickly without the slightest mercy and left him after that drowned in his blood. And Migi tries to act, nourish him and drink water. Shinchi started to wake up, but it is clear to him the terrible change and remember and try to cry, but he is unable to cry about the frequent pain in which Shinchi could no longer cry from his heart, but he pledged to take revenge on his mother. His girlfriend met him. He saw his condition. She said to him, "Will you return?" He looked at his smile, and there is no eye except for revenge. He traveled to the place where his father and mother are located and went to the hospital. His father is unable to tell him what happened and is unable to absorb. But Shinchi knows everything, and his confidence increased in Migi more and said that you saved me. He kept looking for his mother's killer until Meiji's hair was close, but he found him an ordinary person, but part of his body was only the one who turned. They became friends and agreed to kill his mother's murderer, and his battle took place and ended with the victory of Shinchi and his friend. Shinchi returned again, but his strength increased very significantly. No one can stand against him. Meiji felt another parasite in the school, and his new friend Shimada was. It is clear that it is very dangerous, and in the same chapter, his beloved Shinchi has its strength was much bigger than Shinchi. Shinchi is thinking about what this new boy wants. They were the one who felt the presence of Shinchi felt it, but I found it not, but it was Shimada. Shimada felt that the girl has an abnormal advantage, so try to take her quickly, but Shinchi saw him and caught him and told him with all anger, "Do not get close to anyone I know, otherwise I will kill you." On the other hand, the police started looking at the matter and that there is something unusual that happens in the country. There are many numbers that die in the same Roddy method and started to make their investigations. The new valley is and I went to him, "Are you really eating humans?" Of course, Shimada is crazy. And the girl was very afraid of Shinchi. He felt this and shouted at his loudest voice in the chapter. Shimada tried to kill the girl, but she threw a burning material on him and took advantage of the opportunity and tried to jump from the window. Fortunately, the trees helped her a little. Growing spread in the school students and many of them have died. And the boy began to go towards the Murano separation. Shinchi was crazy. Where is Murano? Shinchi went and feared the horror of the scene in a hysterical condition that could not control himself. Where was I when all of these were killed? They died because I was not present. Migi tried to calm him down. Shinchi rose up and kept walking. The boy is still killed in everyone. Shinchi came to him an idea, and indeed he implemented it, holding a rock and ascending over the building, and it was on the boy and died. After that, things returned to their normal position again. They were feeling it a lot and met and contacted. The parasites spread in a terrible way, and even in one of them, I nominate that it is the governor. They met him again. They kept met a lot until he decided to meet her in an abandoned place and said it to everything. He said it, but she did not believe Meiji was sleeping at this moment. I agreed to meet her again in the same place. The girl felt a sign. I went, but it was not. My parasite eats another person. They were faint and tried to escape. I found Shinchi coming quickly, but it was too late. Shinchi overflow. Migi towel defense order. Defense? Just awesome. The amount of energy that guides mountains is unable to cry as usual. Police began to suspect him because he is the one who greeted the body. The owner was suffocating with him. Shinchi already hated himself. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to follow the second part.